In a world that never stops talking, in a time where voices compete to be the loudest in the room, listening has become a lost art, a forgotten treasure buried beneath the noise of ambition, the clamor of ego, and the constant demand to be heard. But what if I told you that the most powerful weapon in communication, the most transformative tool in relationships, leadership, growth, and influence is not speaking, it is listening. Not passive listening, not the kind where we nod while waiting for our turn to speak, but deep, intentional, soul-level listening. The kind that makes the other person feel seen, heard, and valued. Listening is more than hearing words. It is tuning into the unsaid, feeling the emotion between sentences, and understanding the depth of what lies beneath the surface. When we truly listen, we create space. Space for healing. Space for connection. Space for truth. In that silence, in that space, we give someone else the greatest gift a human can offer, our undivided presence. Think about the most powerful moments of your life. Were they filled with noise, or were they wrapped in the sacred silence of being truly understood by someone who cared enough to listen? A teacher who believed in you, a friend who didn't judge, a mentor who heard your doubts without interruption. That is the power of listening. It validates, it affirms, it lifts. In the business world, the best leaders are not the best talkers. They are the best listeners. They listen to their teams. They listen to the marketplace. They listen to the shifts in tone and tempo. They listen between the numbers. Because in listening, they find insight, empathy, and advantage. In relationships, the most cherished partner is not the one with the cleverest words, but the one who can sit in silence and hold space for your storm without trying to fix it. Listening is love in action. Listening says, you matter. Your voice matters. Your pain matters. It is the doorway to trust. And once trust enters, everything changes. Marriages mend, families unite, teams thrive, communities heal. But here's the paradox. Listening is also one of the hardest things to do. It requires us to quiet our own mind, to suspend our judgments, to let go of our need to be right or smart or clever. It demands humility. It demands presence. It demands discipline. And that is why so few master it. We are wired to react, to reply, to defend, to jump in. But true listening is the opposite of reaction. It is reception. It is choosing stillness when everything inside you wants to speak. It is putting someone else's world before your own for a moment. And when you do that, when you offer someone that sacred silence, miracles begin to happen. People open up, walls come down, hearts unfold, because deep down, every soul longs to be heard. And that longing is not just emotional, it is neurological. Studies in neuroscience show that when we feel truly listened to, the brain releases oxytocin, the bonding hormone. Our stress levels decrease, our sense of safety increases. Listening, then, is not just a skill, it is a healing force. Imagine a world where parents listened more than they lectured, where teachers listened to their students' fears, where leaders listened to the unheard voices, where communities listened before they reacted. How different would our world be? How many wars could be prevented? How many suicides avoided? How many lives saved? Not by advice, but by attention. Listening is leadership. Listening is empathy. Listening is influence. The best salespeople are not those who pitch the loudest. They are the ones who listen to the customer's needs until the product becomes a solution. The best negotiators are not those who argue. They are those who listen until they discover the win-win. The best parents are not those who control. They are those who listen until their children feel safe enough to tell the truth. The best friends, the best spouses, the best counselors, the best creators, they all listen. Because listening is where wisdom begins. The world is starving for listeners. In the era of social media, we are more connected than ever, yet more unheard than ever. Everyone is posting, everyone is broadcasting, everyone is speaking. But who is listening? Who is slowing down enough to say, tell me more, I'm here, I care? In the echo chambers of our timelines, real listening is revolutionary. It cuts through the noise like light through fog. It says, you don't have to scream, I hear you. And in that hearing, healing begins. But to become a listener is not easy. It requires training. It requires practice. It requires being comfortable with silence. It requires sitting with discomfort. Because sometimes what you hear is not pretty. Sometimes the truth is raw, messy, inconvenient. But when you truly listen, without defending, without deflecting, without demanding, you become a safe space for truth to breathe. And truth, when it breathes, brings freedom. Do you want to be powerful? Learn to listen. Not just with your ears, but with your eyes, with your heart, with your full attention. Listen to what is said. Listen to what is not said. Listen to the tone, the pace, the size, the silence. Become a student of presence. Watch how the world begins to shift when you shift from noise to stillness, from ego to empathy, from performance to presence. Listening is a superpower, and it is within reach of anyone humble enough to use it. You don't need degrees. You don't need wealth. You don't need a platform. You just need the courage to care, the courage to be quiet, the courage to receive. Because in receiving others, you reflect their humanity back to them. You become a mirror, not a megaphone. You become a sanctuary, not a stage. And in doing so, you become unforgettable. There's a sacred energy in the presence of a good listener, a sense that your words are not falling into the void, but landing gently on a heart that is open and present. And this presence is rare, which is why it's so powerful. In a society that values speed over depth, efficiency over empathy, answers over questions, the one who slows down to truly listen becomes a quiet rebel, a creator of trust in a world drowning in mistrust. Listening is the foundation of every meaningful connection. Without it, communication collapses. Marriages fall apart not because love disappears, but because listening disappears. Parents lose their children not because they stop caring, but because they stop listening. Leaders lose their teams not because they make bad decisions, but because they stop hearing what their people are truly saying. The root of disconnection is not distance. It is the absence of listening. Because when someone stops listening to you, you begin to vanish. You begin to question your value, and eventually you stop speaking altogether. That's how people lose their voice. Not through silence, but through being ignored. But when you listen, truly listen, you give someone their voice back. You give them a place to belong. You remind them that they matter, that they are enough, that their story deserves to be told. And what could be more powerful than that? Listening is not agreement. You can deeply listen to someone and still disagree. That's what makes listening courageous. It means holding space without needing to control the outcome. It means valuing understanding more than winning. That kind of listening heals relationships, bridges divides, and brings people together across ideologies, generations, and wounds. The world doesn't need more opinions. It needs more understanding. And understanding begins where listening lives. Have you ever noticed how the wisest people in the room are often the quietest? They don't need to dominate the conversation. They observe, they absorb, they understand. And when they speak, every word carries weight because it is born out of attention, not reaction. That's the kind of person the world remembers. Not the loudest, but the most present. Not the one with all the answers, but the one who listens to the right questions. If you want to change someone's life, don't just give them advice. Listen to their story. If you want to build trust, don't just make promises. Listen to their fears. If you want to be a better friend, partner, parent, leader, start by becoming a better listener. Listening softens the hardest of hearts. It de-escalates anger. It disarms pride. It diffuses conflict. It is not weakness. It is strength under control. It is the ability to center someone else's reality without making it about your own. That takes emotional intelligence. That takes character. And that takes patience. But what you receive in return is priceless. Connection, loyalty, respect, and truth. In our deepest moments of pain, we don't crave advice. We crave understanding. We don't need solutions. We need someone to sit with us in the darkness without trying to pull us into the light too quickly. Because sometimes the healing is not in being fixed, but in being heard. And when someone feels heard, they begin to find their own light. they begin to rise. That's what listening does. It awakens the silent strength within others. You don't need to have the perfect response. You don't need to solve every problem. You just need to be fully there. And in a world of distraction, full presence is rare. It is sacred. It is powerful. So if you want to become unforgettable, not just popular, not just successful, but truly unforgettable, be the person who listens, the one who doesn't rush to speak, the one who isn't just waiting for their turn, the one who truly sees people. Because people don't remember what you said nearly as much as how you made them feel. And when you make someone feel heard, you make them feel human. You make them feel alive. You make them feel seen in a world that often looks away. That is impact. That is legacy. That is power. Listening is not just a communication skill. It's a leadership philosophy, a relational compass, a spiritual discipline. It brings you closer to others and closer to yourself. Because when you learn to listen to others deeply, you also learn to listen to your own inner voice, your intuition, your truth. And in that space of mutual listening, transformation happens. So slow down, put the phone down, make eye contact, listen without interrupting, listen without planning your reply, listen without judgment. Just listen, because someone's breakthrough might be hiding inside the words they're afraid to say, waiting for someone patient enough to listen. Become that someone. Become the listener the world needs. Because in the end, it's not how loudly you speak that defines your strength. It's how deeply you listen that defines your legacy. And if you think listening is just for conversations, think again. Listening is a way of moving through the world. It's a posture, a discipline, a lifestyle. It's how you engage not only with people, but with life itself. Because the world is always speaking. The wind has something to say. So does the silence between storms. So does your own breath in the early morning hours before the world wakes up. But we miss these messages. Not because they aren't there, but because we're too busy talking over them. We talk over each other. We talk over our intuition. We talk over the wisdom that life is trying to whisper to us in every moment. But when we listen, really listen, we begin to hear things differently. We begin to notice what we once ignored. We begin to see patterns, feel energy, understand nuance. Listening deepens your perception. It sharpens your awareness. It makes you more intuitive, more creative, more compassionate. Great artists are great listeners. They listen to the rhythm of the world around them. Great healers are great listeners. They listen to the pain behind the symptoms. Great storytellers are great listeners. They listen to the stories people don't know how to tell. Great leaders are great listeners. They listen to both the noise and the silence in their teams. Listening is not passive. It is an act of power. But it is quiet power, the kind that moves mountains without raising its voice, the kind that influences rooms without dominating them, the kind that shapes destinies without forcing its way. And the reason this kind of power is so rare is because it cannot be faked. You can pretend to care. You can pretend to smile. But you cannot pretend to listen. Not for long. Because people know when they're being heard. And they know when they're not. Your presence doesn't lie. Your attention doesn't lie. Your energy doesn't lie. So when you choose to listen, you choose authenticity. You choose honesty. You choose to be human in the most powerful way. Listening builds legacy. Because what people remember is how you made them feel. And nothing makes a person feel more valued than being truly heard. So if you want to build trust, listen. If you want to create change, listen. If you want to love better, listen. If you want to lead better, listen. If you want to understand yourself, listen. Because listening is the doorway to every breakthrough you've been seeking. It's how you unlock the hearts of others. It's how you unlock your own. And in a world screaming for attention, the one who listens becomes the one who leads. Not through force, but through presence. Not through volume, but through vision. Not through dominance, but through understanding. So let the world keep shouting. Let the noise keep rising. But you, be still, be quiet, be present, and listen. Because the truth that will change your life isn't always loud. It's hidden in the softest moments, the quietest voices, the most fragile confessions, and only those who listen will ever hear it. And once you do, you will never be the same again. Because listening doesn't just change others, it changes you. It softens your pride. It expands your heart. It grounds your soul. And it reminds you that real strength is not in being the loudest in the room. Real strength is in being the most present, the most patient, the most open. That is the kind of power the world cannot take away. That is the kind of power that lives on long after the words are gone. So master the art of listening, because in doing so, you master the art of connection, the art of healing, the art of love, the art of leadership, and the art of life itself. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to the channel for more powerful stories and life-changing insights. Hit the bell icon so you never miss a moment that could inspire your journey. Your support means everything. Thank you for being part of this community.